listening to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, presented by Brandon Elliott. This show will be going over all aspects of real estate investing and is intended to educate, motivate, and prepare you to take action on your first or next real estate investment. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Thank you for listening and enjoy.
Welcome back, everyone, to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Brandon Elliott. We have a special guest in the house, Mark Willis. What's up, man? How we doing today, brother?
Hey, glad to be here, Brandon. Thanks so much. And for those that are able to see the video, you and I are both on a journey together. Literally, we're both on walking pads, I guess, right now. So this will be fun. This is the first time I've done a walking podcast.
Yeah, we're burning some calories. We're getting the good conversation in, making an impact. This is going to be fun. I've actually had other people comment before when like I'm the only person walking and they're like, "Can you just stay still? You look like you're on drugs." I'm like, "I promise you, I'm not."
We're just so pumped to get to share so much value with your listeners. Yeah. And for me, it's burning calories is great, but it's really a friendly competition with me and my wife who can get the most steps in every day.
Let's go. Where are you guys at on that? How many is
it's an even keel. Well, half the time she's winning. So I got to get these steps in where I can.
Yeah. Typical. I love it. That's a strong woman. Yeah.
That's right. That's right, man. That's right. So where do we want to take these things today?
Yeah. So anybody that doesn't know who you are, where you're from, what you're up to, do you mind just giving that 30,000 foot view for the listeners?
Yeah, sure. Well, so I'm a certified financial planner. I'm tooting my own horn, I'm the owner of Lake Growth Financial Services, which is a financial firm in Chicago, Illinois. We work with all 50 U.S. states and really folks around the world. We've had the great privilege of working for over a decade and almost a decade and a half at this point, a little over 1,500 clients. And we work with business owners and real estate investors specifically because I feel like most CFPs like myself are pushing people into what I refer to as amateur retail investment products like stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. Really it takes away the agency that most of our clients are looking for. Most people want more agency, more control, more certainty, more liquidity, more predictability, and more advantages over their money than what you could do in a typical stocks, bonds, mutual funds, index funds kind of portfolio. So what we get to do, and what I have the great privilege of doing, Brandon, is sitting down with folks, really understanding their goals and what they're trying to accomplish, and then getting there in ways that aren't so average.
Yeah.
I don't want to be average. If average is being in debt up to your eyeballs, if average is peaking out barely below inflation returns, if average is begging and kissing the ring of the banker, I don't want to be average, man. I want to be weird. I want to be awesome. And so our clients want that too. Yeah, man.
I love that, bro. And there's not enough people that are actually being bold about it. And really, numbers don't lie. Facts are the facts for a reason. Mm-hmm. So numbers don't lie. You can't dispute those things. It's just what it is. And so I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. So I love your boldness. I love how you're not going to settle for the average. Talk to me. How the hell did you get into this space? How did you go down that rabbit hole of learning these special techniques? Because realistically, and I know we're going to dive into those in a few minutes, but it's not being taught in school. Did you have mentors, coaches? How did you learn this stuff?
Yeah, I was graduating with my fancy master's degree in 2008 when nobody was hiring. And I had a ton of debt. Student loan debts was mounting in the six figures. And we had no jobs to pay those off. And so it was catch as catch can. It was beans and rice. And on special date nights, we'd do rice and beans. Yeah. It was a scratch it all together, put 3 part-time jobs, mash it all together. I remember my first job after master's degree, the ego was as big as it would ever be, right? And I had my first job at a property management company. It was this Mennonite group that had a property management company. Really weird, cool story there. Yeah. But they handed me a wet dry vac and they said, get under that elevator that's broken, by the way, and just suck out whatever you find. So talk about an ego busting experience, man. From the high highs to the low lows. And so I knew that the debt was my master, that I was slave to, and I jokingly say I married 2 women in college, my beautiful wife and Sally Mae.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
And I wanted to get rid of one of them. And I wanted to keep my wife and get rid of Sally Mae. So we found some strategy. It was a good mentor of ours that came over to our house one day as I was struggling to pay off all this debt and vocal about it. And he said, well, Mark, you're following Dave Ramsey, right? And I said, yeah, I follow him religiously. And he says, well, is it possible that Dave Ramsey could be wrong about something? Boom, my head exploded, you know? So we started going down the road of Bank on Yourself, which is a form of whole life insurance.
Yep.
And we talked some about how we could use that to pay off our student loans. And that's exactly what we did. We used a modernized form of dividend paying whole life insurance as a bank, like a bank, let's say, for our major purchases. We used it for a medical expense that we had. We used it to buy our car. We used it to pay off every one of our student loans. We used it for investing in real estate and lots more. We still use it for all these things and much more. It changed the outlook of my financial life. And as a CFP, I pushed really hard into this to see if it was a scam. Because, you know, when you hear about something like this, you're like, no way that's real. So I dug deep. I did the analysis so you don't have to. And as a CFP, I ended up writing several books about the topic. We've had the privilege now of working, again, with a little over 1,500 clients. So if this thing is, for some reason, a scam, I got a lot of people to call quick. In other words, I'm sold. I believe it with down to my bones. And it's changed not only my life, but my family tree as well.
That's powerful, man. I love that. So talk to me, that mentor at the time, he showed you, first off, he challenged you on what you believe to be true and factual. And I think we all grow up with certain, terms within our home, our family, our influence has taken us to believe this is true, which is okay. However, I think the critical thinking of challenging everything to get down to your truth is very important. And so that friendly, mentor at the time did exactly that for you, gave you that opportunity of, hey, let's not just believe this guy 100%. There could be some truth between it, but let's see if there's anything else that maybe a little bit different for you. So once you did that, things started opening up and you started going down this path with embedded banking structures. How many policies, what kind of policies did that look like for you guys? Was it just you, your wife as well?
Yeah, my wife and I each started one policy at the time. That's all we could afford.
Sure.
And it's everything we could do to squeeze everything we could into these whole life policies, which was absolutely backwards, upside down, and reverse from what you would have heard from a Dave Ramsey disciple just a few months earlier. It did take me about 7 months to get past my own analysis paralysis.
Sure.
I really did. And so, but why did I do that? Well, so for those that aren't familiar, very briefly, I can boil it down in just a few sentences. When you have a true, and I'll call it a bank on yourself type policy, and there's a distinction I'd make there from infinite banking. We can get to that if you want. But if it's designed properly, and that's the big asterisk right there, and one of the biggest risks, which we can get to too, if it's designed properly, the policy will grow on a predictable and guaranteed basis every single year outside of the stock market or real estate market. Right there, we could stop right there. Because what could you do to help your real estate portfolio if you had a bucket of money that was growing guaranteed every year? Okay, so that's the first thing. Second, it's liquid and accessible cash for any reason with no taxes due.
Come on, baby. I like that a lot.
All right, right on.
Yeah.
Third, it's life insurance. So we're solving that problem for our families. And even if you've got plenty in your, real estate portfolio, you might have now an estate tax problem, and life insurance solves that too, which we can get into that if you ever want to.
Yeah.
And then the fourth figure here to keep in mind is it acts like a bank for yourself.
Yeah.
It's called Bank on Yourself for that reason. So you can borrow against the cash value of this policy. And if it's designed correctly, there's that word again, the policy will continue to earn interest and continue to grow as if you had not touched the money.
Yeah.
Even on the capital you borrowed.
Now, many people do design it incorrectly, right? A majority of people, because everybody knows some life insurance rep, right? Family member, friends.
That's right.
Somebody that, hit you at a coffee spot, and took you and showed you. However, most people aren't educated on the proper way to set it up. And
That's right.
I fell to that as well, thinking I was setting up the proper one originally, like 6-7 years ago. And turns out it was not the policy that I was anticipating. I couldn't get my money out for years, not versus like 30 days. And it wasn't, the value behind it was not the same either. You know, I finally liquidated it years later, and I got $5,000 out when I put in 70,000. It's a big difference.
A big difference. Yeah. Well, someone made off on that. It wasn't you.
Yeah.
You know, and you're right, man. Just doing a little research, there's roughly 400,000 life insurance agents in the United States. 400,000. Yeah. That's roughly one for every 800 Americans.
Yeah.
Now, if you needed heart surgery and there were approximately 400,000 heart surgeons, would you just go to the one that was closest to you? Would you just go to the one that met you for coffee?
At 7-Eleven.
Yeah, exactly. Met you in the elevator.
Yeah.
You know, with the greatest, slickest pitch. No, you would do your research and make sure they did it right. What if there were 400,000 elevator technicians in the country? I have no idea how many there are, but I want to make sure whoever is doing my heart surgery or working on my elevator, that they are certified, their quality control is checked, their background, that they designed it right, that they had someone looking over their shoulder. And here's the biggest risk with everything we just talked about, and the power cannot be understated, man. The bank on yourself strategy with liquid, guaranteed, tax-free, if we've designed it right, growing every year. And even when you touch the money, even when you use the money for major investments, can you imagine what would change about your real estate portfolio, your overall financial life, if you had that kind of a missile shooting out of your portfolio and into your real estate deals for incredible, explosive growth in a good way? That would just be huge. But the biggest concern or the biggest consideration, again, coming from a CFP, is that the engineering and the managing of that tool was done improperly. I kind of, again, using the elevator analogy, a beautiful designed elevator with gold, surroundings, finishings, thank you, does you no good if you're falling from the 50th floor down, No
good at all.
Exactly, man. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how slick the YouTube channel was of the elevator technician who built that thing for you when you're falling at 9.8 meters per second squared, right? The rate of gravity. So what you really want is an elevator technician that was certified, checked out by somebody besides him or herself, that was, honoring a certain level of integrity and follow through, and had a credentialing program that was backing his or her training. And to make sure that the
well educated and qualified for this role, right? You don't want
exactly.
Harry.
Yeah, and honestly, it takes maybe a couple of weekends of study to get your life insurance license.
Yeah.
So all you need is a life insurance license and a YouTube channel to offer what's known as infinite banking or cash flow banking, or, there's so many nicknames and knockoffs. There's, multiplier, legacy, family, wealth, infinite. Just mash a bunch of words together and look it up on YouTube, and you'll find dozens, if not hundreds, of YouTube channels.
Well, long story short, guys, stay tuned. In another 2 weeks, you'll see it first here. I'm just kidding.
That's right. Exactly. So the main point of this whole parable here is work with someone who's got a credential, and the only credentialing program with a oversight and an authorization certification program is the Bank on Yourself Professionals program, of which I happen to be a part, but I'm not the owner of Bank on Yourself. Pamela Yellen founded it decades ago. Actually, she founded it with the guy who started Infinite Banking, Nelson Nash.
Nice.
And he realized that he was a great evangelist, but he had not been a great pastor of the concept. A lot of people were taking his ideas and designing policies with poor construction or with universal life contracts or, heck, lots of other mutations of his ideas. So he asked Pamela to build some IP protection, some trademarks, some certification programs, and ongoing CE credits and all that. And so that's what I've been a part of now for the last decade.
I love it. That's awesome. And people can find that on their own as well by going to their website and really deep diving into those credentials.
That's right.
Get the proper education, ladies and
That's
gentlemen.
right. Yeah. Go to bankonyourself.com and click on advisors, professionals, and you'll see it on Pamela's website.
Love it. Talk to me. What other risk is there? I know we cover several risks there, but anything else that really stands out besides just not setting it up properly that people need to be aware of?
Well, the biggest one is, does the agent know what he or she is doing?
Yeah.
Really everything else falls under that. But just to give you a short checklist, and there's literally here, I'll share my screen just quickly if you don't mind. We won't go through every single one of these, but just to give you some idea of what we're talking about here, you want to look at companies that are mutually owned. You want to make sure that they are not publicly traded on Wall Street. You want to make sure that they are a great financially strong company with a 90+% on the Comdex rating.
Yes.
You want to make sure that they are not going to turn into modified endowment contracts. You want to make sure that there's a paid up additions rider on the policy and that the majority, but not all of your money should be going into that rider. You need a nice blend of paid up additions and base. And one more, and I'll just hush after this and get your thoughts on this, Brandon. If you want to dive deeper on this, let me know. But one piece that a lot of people don't really notice is way over here, direct versus non-direct recognition on your loans. Do I have a non-direct recognition loan on my cash value, which crucially allows the policy to continue to grow even when you use it to make major purchases? So many people, I'll give you a quick story here. I'll stop sharing unless you want to go further. But had a guy, he's a farmer, and he has some real estate too, but he uses his policies for major equipment purchases. In fact, he used his policies for an $800,000 loan.
Let's go.
For a combine. Yeah. Now, he found out, unfortunately, it was a whole life company, mutually owned, had paid up additions on it, but the policies were direct recognition. And what does that just mean? That just means that the policies directly recognize that he was taking that big, juicy loan for his combine. Mm-hmm. And that means that the policies eviscerate the growth on the money when he borrows against it. He was furious. Now, he found me, he came to me and he said, we got to, Mark, this other insurance agent designed something that he promised me, Mark. He swore up and down he designed this the correct way.
Sure.
Unfortunately, it was not to be. So we did what's called a 1035 exchange into some properly structured policies. And now he's working great. It's all working out well for him.
Oh, I love it. I'm a huge advocate of setting up life insurance policies, infinite banking structures the right way. Like I said, I've been screwed over in the past, unfortunately. And it's, as much as I could put blame on the other person, even those guys sometimes don't know. They think what they have is the holy grail and they don't know as much, so it's if it's meant to be, it's up to me mindset and mentality. Mm-hmm. Because when there's a will, there's a way. There's always something out there potentially that I, encourage you, just like, Mark's mentor originally did, challenge everything to get down to your truth. And that can be super huge. But we have 4 policies currently. I actually just set up my 4th, highest one ever. We set up a $2 million policy that I'm super stoked on, that we're dumping in and doing wild fun.
What do you hope to use those for, and how have you used those, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, it's planned for real estate, but realistically, just having the funds sit in the bank account was something that was driving me crazy. And now, because we have enough real estate that we needed a bunch of reserves to a certain degree in the bank accounts, just for any times that we refinance or purchase. Mm-hmm. And so, with that being said, I could still utilize the cash value within those accounts, but not actually have it liquid in my bank account earning next to nothing.
Love it. Well, that's so cool to hear. And, I just got off with one of my clients he's a commercial banker himself. Yep. I was interviewing him for my podcast as a client. I like to do testimonials and spotlight stories on real life people doing this. Yeah. And his intention is to use his policies to invest in real estate and to buy a business. In fact, he's in the middle of negotiating for an e-commerce business that he's going to buy. And that's going to be part of what helps him escape the rat race. He could never have done that if that money was stuck in where it was, which was his 401k. So, in very small and practical and big ways, clients are starting to take real control of their money and let it be done in a way that's, not tied to something that cannot control. As you said, if it's going to be, it's up to me. Yeah. What I take that to mean is bank on yourself, don't bank on Wall Street. What are they going to do? They might give you success. It might also be taken out from under you.
I love that. So talk to me, now that we went over the risk, there's other alternatives besides infinite banking or ways that you could structure it and so forth that can really set people up for success as well that most people aren't actually talking about, correct?
That's right. Yeah. Well, we've talked some about how there's, it's sort of the difference between, again, all natural peanut butter and USDA organic peanut butter. It's like the USDA organic seal is something that has gone through a litany of tests and reviews and quality control, whereas there's a wild west around the words all natural. It might be good, but again, if there's 400,000, peanut butter jars on the grocery shelf and they all say all natural, yeah, you want to be real careful how they built and how they got that product into that jar. But if it's USDA organic, you can have a little more, peace of mind that you've seen this thing designed correctly and that they're working in your best interest.
Okay.
As far as how you can use this policy, again, if it's all designed the way we've been talking, and I'll refer to these as bank on yourself designed policies for this, just to make the distinction between, bank on yourself and all the other kind of Wild West phrases out there.
Sure.
You could use this. Imagine how this would work on small to large scales. Here's a few small ones. Couldn't you use your policy for fixing up your next HVAC system need?
Yeah.
Couldn't you use this in place of a down payment on a property? I have, a lot of people do. What about your property taxes every year? If you're paying property taxes, are you paying your property taxes out of your cash savings? Why? Why not recycle the money in and out of your policy over and over again? In fact, why stop with property taxes? Why not pay all your taxes through your policy?
Yeah.
Could we be blowing some minds right now, Brandon? Let's see. In fact, and I don't recommend this for everybody, but you could certainly use that with all your income tax.
Yep.
You could even use it for your entire income. Although, again, that's a very advanced strategy I don't recommend everyone do, but your entire income could become, used through your policy.
Yeah.
Okay. The main point of why we would do that, why in the heck would Mark be talking about this? Isn't he a CFP? Shouldn't he be telling us to put all of our money in the markets? Well, the point is control, predictability, and efficiency. Okay, control, predictability, and efficiency. Let's do control first. When you put your money in these policies, you are under it is under your control what that money does. Nobody else can tell you what your money's going to do for you. You care more about your money than anyone else, so you should control your money more than anyone else. And I mean more than your investment manager, okay, more than anybody else.
Yep.
Second, predictability. If you don't know exactly how much your 401k is going to be worth when it's time to retire, do you even have a financial plan?
Yep.
If you don't know how much your rent is going to be on your rental properties or how much your houses are going to be worth, do you have a plan? When you have a whole life policy, you know exactly what the guaranteed minimum cash value will be when it's time to tap into it, and at every point along the way. There's a literal contract with your future.
Yeah.
How cool is that? To meet future Brandon and say, hey, future Brandon, you're going to be worth X of millions of dollars, and the contract's right here in front of us. That's so cool.
Crazy.
Okay, so predictability, right? And then the third one is efficiency. When all of our money is tied up in the market, it's very inefficient for two reasons, and I'll hush and get your feedback. Number one, the up and down of the market forces you to lose money, and volatility is the arch nemesis of compounding. Here's what I mean. When let's say you got a 100% rate of return on your money in the first year. Let's say, for example, Brandon, you put in $10,000 into some sort of an investment. Okay, $10,000 went in. Yeah. Let's say it went up 100%. Yeah. Now you got what? You doubled your money. So now you have $20,000.
Yep.
Woo, we're feeling good.
Cool.
Now, in year two, you lose half your money. Ouch.
Yeah.
Negative 50%. You're back from 20 down to your original 10,000.
Yep.
So far, so good?
Yep.
All right. So 2 years have gone by. You went up 100. You lost 50. Do you feel any wealthier after this project?
Nope. Just worn out.
It just went out. Too many steps on the treadmill.
Yeah.
It feels like a treadmill when you're on Wall Street, right?
Yeah. The ups and
But
downs.
so we exactly. So we destroyed our compounding. We're back down to where we started. We have no growth for our 2 years of misery.
Yeah.
And yet our average rate of return in that little story was 25%. 25%. We had 100% up, 50% down, divide by 2 years. That's a 25% average rate of return. And your investment planner could legally tell you that he got you or she got you 25%.
Yeah.
So that is very inefficient. Okay, that's the first reason. The second and last thing, and then I'll be done. When it's time to retire, let's say that you built up, pick a number, any number. Let's say you had $1 million in your 401k or IRA or brokerage account or any other investment-based account. What is the appropriate amount of money to pull out of that account for retirement income? So you got your $1 million in your 401k. How much would be the right number to take out of that 401k so you'd never run out of income? Hard to guess, right?
Yeah.
Impossible. Why is it impossible? Because nobody knows how long we're going to live.
True.
Right? Nobody. So what I love about real estate and what I love about whole life insurance and what I love about... Yeah, go ahead.
Not to cut you off on this, but...
No, please, go ahead.
They have projections, right? They have on life insurance, they put like 120 years and then they give up because how much money you're making on them. So they're like, hey, if you live longer than that, just pay them out. Get them out of our hair.
Good point. Yeah.
Feeding us. And then also the average for man and woman, it's right around, 68 or 70 something, 80 something. I forget what it is. But so that's what the average is.
Yeah.
But still nobody knows,
Nobody knows. And hey, once again, I don't want to be average. I'm not so average. So that's true with your health and your longevity and everything.
Yes.
So the best advice from retirement researchers like Wade Pfau and David Blanchett, these are PhD retirement researchers. They say, if you got $1 million in your 401k, the best research they can come up with is don't pull more than 28 grand a year out of your 401k. That's pathetic. That's very inefficient.
Poverty. Yeah.
That's the millionaire lifestyle, Brandon. 28 grand. Oh, by the way, that 28 grand has to be subtracted by taxes. Yeah. So you might be looking at 22 grand after tax.
And then don't forget inflation and what things will be worth by that time, It's like, come on.
Right. Exactly. So there you go. So when we look at whole life insurance coupled with real estate,
yes,
you can, I don't want to give a quote here on the podcast, but let's just say you could do a lot better. Yeah. A lot better than 2.8%. Yes. I mean, usually whole life can yield roughly 5 to 6 pulled out of there for life and over a 30-year retirement, plus whatever you could do with the rental properties.
Yep. And the best part is you could double dip it. Like it's in there, right. Take out a loan against it. I like to put mine to work on private money deals, like on real estate that I know, act as the bank, put it to work over there and make a killing on it. Plus, if they mess up, great. They still owe me the money and I'll just go after the property. I'll finish the deal, so
love that.
Or investments that can really double your money or triple a hell of a lot faster.
So, be your own banker, as they say, but also be other people's banker too.
Yes.
This is a strategy that's as old as civilization itself. Yep. There's a great book out there. It's called Debt, the First 5,000 Years by David Graeber. I don't agree with all the conclusions, but the book title is the best part. It's just a great reminder that debt has been a part of our life since caveman days. So you might as well take it on and use it to your advantage. So which side of the banker's desk are you really sitting on? And hopefully, if you want control, if you want predictability, if you want efficiency, sit on the right side of the banker's desk and everything else becomes easier.
Amen. I love it. Talk to me about lifetime income. There's some opportunities outside of that I know people will get really excited for. And then I know you have a hard cutoff coming up, so I want to respect your time. Sure. So let's dive into that.
Yeah, so there's a relationship to what we've been talking about in lifetime income. So if you're into real estate and if you're into real estate investing, you might be looking at properties as a form of cash flow. Yep. And it's true. They're an incredible, talk about a financial tool that's as old as the pyramids. Real estate has always been a great means of cash flow. The problem with, we call it the 5 T's. You got trash, termites, taxes, tenants, and toilets. Yep. The 5 T's of real estate. all five usually, if not more, you could probably discover yourself.
Depends on where you get too. Like we get a lot of termites out here in San Diego, but maybe tornadoes over in
Tornadoes, yeah. That's another one. I got to keep that in mind, yeah. So don't neglect real estate. Incorporate it, but maybe diversify your cash flow too. So what's an idea for another form of lifetime income? Very few things give you lifetime income. Think about it. Your 401k, you could run out.
Yeah.
Heck, even your whole life policies are a finite bucket of money. Technically, you could run out there too. So as cool as they are, keep in mind you want lifetime income, where even if you ran out of money, you'd never run out of income. Okay, so there's a contract that's been around for 2,000 years. I literally saw one of these contracts in a museum in Chicago. It was from 300 BC. It's a lifetime income contract, meaning the guy was getting paid a paycheck for as long as he lived. He's probably a soldier in Alexander the Great's army. I mean, these things are so cool. And the fancy word is annuity. Now, most people hear the word annuity and they're like, oh, I don't want one of those. Well, that's how I felt about Bank on Yourself when I first heard it too. So the more I looked into certain annuities, not all of them.
Yeah.
There's 19,000 kinds of annuities. I might like a dozen of them. But if they're designed properly, I'm going to keep saying that over and over again. If they're designed properly, they can give you lifetime guaranteed income.
Come on.
So it's like another rental property without having to go collect the rent. All right.
So with annuities, do you mind just giving that 1,000-foot view of like what the heck is an annuity and how,
Sure.
Somebody can actually search for the proper structure?
Absolutely. So real briefly, it's a contract. And if you really think about it, isn't that exactly what a rental property is?
Yep.
It's called real estate, and people think, well, it's real. I can touch it. I can see the bricks. You don't own it unless you have a contract.
Yep.
If I don't have a contract to my rentals, all I have is squatter's rights.
Yeah. Real property, but not really yours.
Exactly. Yeah. You must have a contract if you want that rental income to continue. The same is true with an annuity. It's just a contract between you and a third party. Usually it's a A+ rated financial institution who has made the promise to you that if you shovel over a lump sum to them, they'll keep it liquid. And that's new, by the way. They'll keep it available to you. Unlike old-fashioned annuities where they'd keep your money from you. Yeah. But they'll keep the money liquid for you and then give you a check for the rest of your life. Even if you run out of birthday candles, your spouse can continue to get that income for as long as he or she lives until they pass. And then anything left over would be paid out to the beneficiaries, maybe your kids or a charity.
Wow.
Okay, so that's kind of cool. Also, you can use that for long-term care needs. Should you need to go into a nursing home, many of these annuity companies will double what they're paying you while you're in that nursing home. So if you're making $80,000 a year off the annuity, it would double to $160,000 while you're in the chronic care facility and whatnot.
Come on.
And lastly, and I'll pass it back to you, and I have a kind of a bonus surprise for folks who stayed to the end.
Yeah.
But a lot of these newer annuities have an increasing income option, meaning as the years progress, depending on the details of your contract, the income would grow, keeping up with inflation, keeping up with what your needs are for your future. I've seen income double or even triple over a person's retirement years.
Lord.
Kind of like a rental property, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. So any feedback, thoughts, questions on any of that before the bonus?
No, man, this is like so eye-opening. I know if it's eye-opening for me, I've deep dive into a lot of education around financial literacy. It's the one thing that I really get excited for, because again, like when there's a will, there's a way. And you just got to realize like success leaves clues. If people, the mega rich, I'm talking billionaires and so forth, if they have these different partnerships, different circles and education that can really unlock so much more value for them, that, that stuff needs to get trickled down to us as well. And so I'm just very grateful for your education, the rabbit hole that you've gone down, and spending time with me and the listeners to be able to pour back.
Love it, man. Thank you. And just in 30 seconds or less, many people don't realize this, but you can take a whole life policy and for free transfer it to one of these annuities when the time comes. So, let's say you built up a portfolio of these whole life policies. Let's say you get 8 of them over your lifetime.
Yep.
Maybe you choose, Brandon, of your own will, to transform 4 of those into guaranteed lifetime income streams. And the other 4 you keep liquid for future real estate deals you do into your 60s, 70s, and beyond. That, to me, is the ultimate portfolio without taking unnecessary risk. You've given yourself so many advantages and mitigated so many risks at the same time. Why take unnecessary risk if we don't have to? I'm good with risk, but why unnecessary risk? That's what we help our clients do, and that's what I'm privileged to help our clients do all day long.
Come on. I love that. That is so amazing. I want to be able to get the listeners your contact information, if you don't mind sharing, of like how people can get a hold of you and connect with you forward.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. And the strategies that we've talked about are just a taste of what we're able to do with our clients.
Yeah.
In all 50 states, really. And even if you live in Canada, we have some arrangements with folks up there too. Nice. So find us on any podcast player or YouTube channel. But the best way to reach me, if you'd like to have a 15-minute phone strategy session, is to go to kickstartwithmark.com. That's kickstartwithmark with a K.com. And what we'll do is we'll just have a quick conversation, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and answer your burning questions. And we can imagine together if this strategy would be a good fit in your portfolio.
Love it. That's awesome. And then you said there's a little bonus that could be it for them to reach out.
Well, yeah, if you'd like to reach out and do reach out, I'll make sure you get a free copy of my book, How to Be a Real Estate Investor and Fire Your Banker. So get that. It was a #1 best-selling book when it came out, and I'd be happy to get that copy to you. Just mention Brandon's name in the notes of your appointment when you schedule that 15-minute meeting with me.
I love it. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it. Guys, Mark is a wealth of knowledge and credible individual that really cares about your financial future and getting that education in your hands. So by all means, reach out to him. He would be honored to be able to bless you and help you out with that process of what it looks like. If you guys want to get a hold of me, you can always do so on Instagram. It's Brandon Elliott Investments. Otherwise, check out our business page on Instagram. It's Credit Counsel Elite. Again, if you haven't checked out our website, creditcounselelite.com, what are you waiting for? Go to creditcounselelite.com right now. There's a quick 10-minute video explaining what the heck we do, how we can help get out of that 9-to-5, or even just starting that new business, growing and scaling. If you're looking for capital, we can show you how to get there, getting up to $500,000 with interest rates as low as 0% for anywhere from 6 to 18 months. Would love to be able to bless you with that information and sit down with you where you're currently at and show you how to get to the finish line. So check out creditcounselelite.com to get more information on that. And then if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. Wherever you listen to your podcast episodes, make sure you do that right now. You'll get the newest notification every single Monday. And then after listening to a few episodes, leave that 5-star review. Greatly appreciate all the love, all the support. You guys are amazing. Keep it coming. And we will catch you on the next episode. Till next time, guys. God bless.
This has been another episode of Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, brought to you by Brandon Elliott. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Also, please don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Thanks again for joining. Until next time, God bless.